Hoglins, the new source of food in the nether, turned out to be probably one of the best sources of food in the game. Why? Because they can easily and quickly respawn, and they drop pork chops, which is a really, really great food. So here we are inside of Minecraft, and this is what we are going to be creating today. First off, big thank you to Rayworks for basically figuring out all the mechanics of this farm. I have redesigned it to some of the specifications that I like. His was the original, and I feel like it was a little bit resource heavy, and this one's a little bit less resource heavy, but definitely check out Rayworks' design as well, because I believe that it will collect more than mine, but it is, if you want to like build the absolute best, then please check his out. So here's how it works. Hoglins will spawn up here on the top, then they will fall into the lava. This lava is only 1 thick deep. Then the rest of their death will come from fall damage. Get out of here, piglin. And then they hit these hoppers, and these hoppers will collect all of the loot. I've had this running for not very long, and you can already see the leather and cooked pork chops that we have achieved from this farm. Nice things about this farm: there is no redstone other than technically you could say that the trapdoors are in the redstone category in the creative menu. Same thing with the hoppers. But other than that, you don't need any pistons to push things around, just all naturally spawning things. This current situation will only spawn hoglins up here at the top. It shouldn't spawn gas, skeletons, piglins, anything like that. And then it will give you cooked meat as a result. It's fully cooked at the end of it, which is really great. So how does it all work? Let's explain how it works before we actually build it ourselves and some of the mechanics behind it. Up here on the spawn platform, hoglins will still spawn at really high light levels. So we're just using a ton of torches to make sure that the light level is really high, which will stop piglins, blazes, skeletons, everything else from spawning. We are in the Crimson Forest biome. We are on top of the nether. I have a video about how to get to the top of the nether and how to punch a hole in the nether to get back down whenever you finally get up to the top. You should check those videos out if you want to build on top of the nether. The reason we're building on top of the nether is because when you build up here, you have a whole bunch of space to build, but other mobs will not spawn, especially if you are in single player. Mobs will not spawn on bedrock, so you will not have to compete with all of that. If you're standing near the bedrock layer, then mobs will still spawn below the bedrock, but you can do some clever stuff like what we're doing right here, which is build so high up that mobs won't spawn, and then all of your spawning is going to be concentrated into one spot. So that is really nice for us to do. We are using the warped fungi to move the hoglins around once they spawn. So hoglins do not like the smell, or they just don't like the warped fungus. So they will try to move away from it. And as you can see, we have it placed in all the corners of our farm here so that they will move away from the corners and move towards the center. Then they fall into the lava. A lot of times they'll bounce up and down on this lava for a little while, the whole time they are taking damage. And then when they come out the other side, either their drops will fall or they will fall and take the rest of the fall damage they need to in order to die the rest of the way. Whenever a mob dies when it's on fire, it will drop a cooked version of whatever it drops. And because hoglins drop the pork chop, it will be a cooked pork chop as the result. So fairly simple. I like this design because it's using a lot of very basic materials. Even the fence and the slabs and the trapdoors, that can all be made with normal wood. It does not need to be this crimson wood. I just kind of made it look a little bit nethery. And it's same thing like netherrack. Like, who doesn't have a lot of netherrack? Who doesn't have some dirt lying around? So this is a very simple build. The glass that you see right here does not need to be glass. We're just doing that so you can see all of the mobs falling down. You do need some type of trough, otherwise they a lot of times we'll miss this base right here, and the items will go everywhere. So you do need some type of trough. So let's start building. Your first step is to find a crimson forest biome, then to get to the top of the nether. And look, I have my other build over there, and I have a build over here. So we're just going to find an area without a build in it that's still in the crimson forest biome. Look right here, it looks pretty good. And then you need to get on top of the nether, which we have a video about, and you need to be able to get back down through the nether to break you. So you need to break a piece of bedrock, which I also have a video about. Now that we have selected a location that we want to build, we want to build up basically as much as we can, because all those things that you're hearing, all those mobs, those are underneath the bedrock layer, and that will limit our mob cap. So we want to build up basically as high as we can. The build itself will be like 47, basically 50 blocks tall. And since the height limit is 256 in the nether, we are just going to aim until we get up to the limit of 200. So over here, my Y coordinate, once that hits 200, that'll give us some blocks to play with. By the way, 256 is the limit, but you can actually only build 255 blocks tall. So we're just going to get to 200 here. Here we are hanging out at 200. Now I can make a ladder down, which would be nice to have, but because I'm in creative mode, why bother? And we're going to go ahead and put down some chests just like this. And then we're going to put hoppers into the back of that chest. And because I'm hanging off the chest, it's not going to allow me to do that. Make sure that your hoppers are pointed into the chest. So you are clicking on the chest whenever you put these hoppers down. That way they'll point into the chest. And then make sure that you have a line of 5 of them coming away from that chest. So we have one row of 5 and another row of 5. We're going to make sure that this is 5 wide again. So we're just going to add 1 row on one side and 2 on the other, and there we go. Now we have a 5 by 5 of hoppers. That is 25 hoppers in total with 2 chests. If for any reason you need to add more chests, just go ahead and do that underneath, just like so. Whoops, and all my chests are kind of discombobulated. And then you can add some hoppers. You could either take this hopper, make sure to point it into that hopper right there. Come on, we can do it. There we go. And then you can take the hoppers and it will grab it out of the hopper and move it down before it puts it in the chest. So your bottom chest would fill up in this situation. You didn't want this hopper to be pointed in the chest because otherwise half of it would go in there, or everything from this area would go into the chest and then on down. And we want to use as few hoppers as possible. If you're not going to do that, then you can just keep it the way that it was. Now we need to build up into the sky a little bit more. And we're just going to make sure that all of the hoglins, as they fall, that they aren't going to leave this area, and then also once they splat on the ground that their items won't go crazy. Thing to note, if you are using glass, you don't have to worry about this because glass on top of a chest will be able to be opened. But if you use a solid block on top of a chest, then you won't be able to open that chest. So you need to use some type of non-solid block. It could be a slab, it could be some stairs, or it could be some glass. I'm just going to go ahead and throw on some stairs onto this block. There we go. Stair, stair. Perfect. And now we are going to build up our wall. And we want to build this up to the point where our hoglins are absolutely going to die whenever they hit the ground. So hoglins have 40 health points. That translates to 20 hearts. But 40 health points is really what we are going to want. Whenever a creature falls, it'll take a half heart of damage for every block that it falls past the 3rd block. So let's start off with 3 blocks down. This will be the original fall here. And then we can go up 40 blocks. So 43 blocks in total. So I have finished my building 40 blocks up from the original 3. So we're at 43 blocks. Now we are also going to have 1 layer of lava in order to start to burn our hoglins. So we're going to create an extra block for that layer of lava. So now we are at 44 blocks total. And then the next block will be where we eventually build our spawning platform. Now, way down here, you can notice that I made sure to start building right here off the edge. And because on our other build, we had a whole area that the hoglins could spawn in and then fall. So if you built it on one of these corner slots, just keep in mind where you started your build. I built mine right there off of the edge, so I can easily know that once I'm up here and finally have that final block, I can go over, counting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and this is the same edge down there. And then I can place another block that'll be a corner block. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Corner block. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then all of this should match up to the same silhouette that we have at the bottom. Hoglins are scared of the warped fungi up to 8 blocks away. We're not going to use that total 8 blocks because some of them will be diagonal blocks and things like that, and we want them to run towards the center here. So we're just going to add an extra 5, 3, 4, 5, and so that'll mean a total of 6 blocks, and then we're going to put a fungus over here on the 7th block so that they will run this direction. And just to keep that all, you know, we're just going to make a template basically. I'm just going to go out an extra 5 blocks in every direction, and then we're just going to fill in the rest of the area, and it'll look like a big old square inside of a square. And there we go. So now we have our platform where the hoglins will be spawning, and we have the start of a trough. All you need to do is just fill this in with blocks, and I'm going to do that a little bit later. So we have our trough for the hoglins. Really, all you need to do now is fill it with a ton of torches so that the hoglins are the only thing that is going to be spawning here. You could also build this entire platform out of jack-o'-lanterns. That's what Rayworks did in his original video. Doesn't really matter. I just feel like this is a little bit less resource intensive just to go crazy with the torches. And you don't have to be perfect like I was in my sort of demo build over there. You can just kind of spam them around and it'll be fine. Now it's time to put down our warped fungus, and you can just put this right onto dirt. You don't need any fancy block in order to pull that off. And I'm doing 3 per side here. So 1 in the middle, 1 right next to the edge here, and then the same on all of the sides. Now we have our fungus down. Now it is time to make sure that if any of the hoglins spawn, that they are not going to accidentally fall off the edge. And all you need is just some fence for this, and then also some slabs. Oh, I have a petrified slab. That's not what I want. I just want a normal old slab. Here we go, oak slab. The reason that we're putting down the slabs is because there's a chance that a hoglin will spawn right there, warped fungus. So we are going to put a slab there. That way the hoglin will not spawn and will not accidentally fall off the edge. Also, because it's a slab, no other creature will be able to spawn on top of a half slab. So all we're doing is putting down these fences so that if you walk over to the edge, you won't fall off. And the hoglins won't necessarily walk over to the edge and fall off. What they will most likely do is they'll be pushed off by others spawning. Now that that is done, grab any type of trapdoor, and it really can be just any type of trapdoor. And you're just going to go ahead and place them along the edge here. And it's good to look at the block that you're about ready to place, because that way when you close them, they will be able to close up to the edge of the block that you are looking at. And that's all you're going to want to do, because the creature's AI, for whatever reason, will see that as a full block, even though it is not. We're also going to want to place 1 block in the dead center, then place another trapdoor on that block, and then close it. So the mobs will assume that they can take a pathway, specifically this pathway, to get away from the fungus, but because they are opened, they will walk and fall down. So now it is time for us to put down our lava, which will eventually catch the hoglins on fire. And this first block, this block right here, would be the lava like area. That's where the block of lava is going to take up. So we can just build a temporary, or I guess it will eventually not be temporary because we're going to fill this whole thing in, a bridge out so that we can place our fence gates on the edge of this block. And all we're doing is filling this with fence gates, because when you open up a fence gate, you can pass all the way through, except that it takes up the space of an entire block. bedrock so that it will not allow the lava to flow through. And we're just going to make this a 5x5, like the entire silhouette we have been working with thus far. And then when you're finished with it, just go ahead and open up every single fence gate. And also now would be the time to fill in the rest of your trough to make sure that your lava doesn't go flowing everywhere. Okie dokie, now that I have filled in my trough, it is time to put down our only piece of lava. And I would just put it over here in the edge. And because we're in the nether, it's easily going to flow to both sides so that you can fall through, you catch on fire, you aim for the other side, and you take a long fall and die. And luckily I'm in creative mode, so that didn't happen. Now your build is complete. Already we have a few hoglins spawning. Sometimes they do what this guy's doing, and just bounce on top of the lava, which is not fun, not really what we want. But you can see that it works really, really quickly. The only thing that you have to keep in mind is your proximity to the platform. You do need to be within a 24 to 32 block radius of the platform and just AFK there for the hoglins to eventually spawn. I'm just going to go ahead and make this all glass just so that we can see a little bit easier. And remember that our entire build here was 45 blocks tall. So if we come up from this original area, so let's just like imagine that this was our platform that we had created in order just to chill out here and not die from fall damage. If we come up just 12 blocks, so if we hang out here, we will get some spawns to happen. I've even had some spawns happen while I'm still down here, although I can't tell if that's because I'm in creative mode and like zooming all around. But there you go. So we already have some stuff happening up there. I have seen a few hoglins fall when we didn't have the lava ready, so some of these pork chops I know are not going to be cooked. Oh, look at that, they are cooked, they're all good. Look at that, already 61 golly, this thing is fast. You already have 61 cooked pork chops for our awesome build. And here's some more food is coming down the line. Awesome. So there you have it, an automatic pork chop farm for the new nether update. Few things to mention. One is that we are in the snapshot builds at the moment. So this is a development build. It is not the release that is going to come out. If you're wanting to build this in your world, right now, you're going to have to wait until Minecraft 1.16 in order to build it. And also, another big old asterisk is that this is a development build, so it could change. The devs could change spawning rates. They could change spawning behavior for the hoglins. So this is kind of a thing that is useful that we know of right now. It could be useful 5 years from now. We don't know yet if this is ever going to be developed. This behavior is going to be developed out of the game. And finally, one big, massive thanks to RayWorks again for creating the original concept for this video. There will be a link in the description to see his original video. Thanks so much for watching this episode of OMG Craft. See you on the next one. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a big old thumbs up. Also, make sure you subscribe for future videos, tips, tricks, tutorials, and spotlights here on OMG Craft. And we'll see you in the next one. Bye.